Welcome to the Myesha podcast. On today's episode, we are talking about money. I've gotten so many comments, questions about how are we working with our money? What are we doing? How are we restarting after 40, after divorce, after new change of careers? Like, what are we doing? Where are we at? And I think this is such an important topic because so many of us have a skewed relationship with our finances. I'll start this conversation off by saying, as long as I've had memory, I've always been very connected to money. I mean, it was just a thing, it was a part of my life. I, at a young age, felt like I needed more of it. Yes, I did. But nonetheless, I've been able to work hard, save money, use money, find money, make money. I would sell things out of my house constantly. If I wasn't using something, I knew how to turn it around and flip it and make it into something. Okay. I'm going to be the one to save the day. I'm going to figure out where the coins are. Okay. And I know that not everybody has that opportunity to have a relationship with money. I'm not afraid of it. I actually feel the energy of money very closely and have learned how to manage it and how to be a friend to it and how to use it as a tool. What I've learned starting over, um, because I don't know why people think you go through a divorce, you're going to come out with some big payout. I don't get it. I just don't understand that piece. It's scary going from having two incomes to one income was difficult. What I found, because I was always the money manager, I was the one that paid the bills. I knew where all the money was at, what was going on. I knew who's who in the zoo. And a lot of women that I've talked to over these past 3 years, they don't know. So they are paying bills for the first time. They are doing all the things and having to be responsible in a very new way. It's a new skill. And if you're not aware of your personal relationship with money, your history with money, and your triggers and your fears, and you're not self-aware, it can be very, very hard. Here's what I found as it relates to money. You have to know your background, your relationship with it. You need to go back to the very beginning. When did you get your first dollar? When did you get your first nickel? What did that feel like? What did that represent for you? What did you see growing up? How was money talked about? How was money spent? All of those things play a factor when it's time to rebrand, rebuild, and when it's time to move out into another chapter of our life. These stories, they still replay themselves. So until you actually understand your personal money story and then decide to change that story and do something differently, you may always have a skewed relationship with it. That means you may be a scarcity person where you feel like, let me hoard, let me put it all away, let me hide it because I don't know where my next is coming from. You may be the person that lives in a lot of comfort. You just feel like you want more money so that you can have the things that make you more comfortable. There may be somebody else that's stingy, or somebody that overspends. Like there's all these different ways. Somebody who constantly struggles, that no matter how much you get, you never seem to have enough. These are all very important. Money is available to anyone who desires it. That's my position. Okay. I believe that there is opportunity for all of us to change what we do. And I'm going to give you an example. When I got divorced, I pretty much started all over. We were fortunate to liquidate a lot of our possessions and our things that were in both of our names, kind of like 2-3 years before we got divorced. I had no idea what was really going on, but by the time we got to the divorce, everything was pretty clear about what we were going to do, and we didn't really argue a lot over money. At the time, I was working in part of the building that part of the business that I co-founded, so it was like I could earn a living to take care of myself, and he could too, and so it was like, okay, a win is a win. But then I didn't see far down the future that there was going to come time where I was going to have to not be a part of that business? And then how was I going to provide for myself? And at 42 years old, I had to figure out, what am I going to do? Now, I had a lot of background, I had a lot of things, a lot of skills, but I had spent 18 years of my life doing something that no longer served me. And I just felt like I don't want to waste any more time doing anything that I don't want to do. And some of you will say, well, wow, that's such a privilege for you to be able to say that. No, it took sacrifice. It cost me to have that position, but I said, I will not die. I will not leave this earth without doing for a period of time what I want to do. And I started to ask different questions. I already knew my money story, okay? And I explored my fears. Will I be okay? And I started to put my hand on my chest and said, Myesha, I will take care of you. I will provide for you. And greater than that, I started to rely heavily on God, and my faith started to grow. So often when, like in my story, I worked hard. So I was always going to have enough because I was going to ensure that. I was going to work extra hard, 2, 3 jobs from when I was 14, 15, 16 years old. I've been working. I was the nurse. When I was a registered nurse, I would work doubles, okay? I would come in on days off. I was hustling. That's a better way to put it. Hustle. I hustled. So if I had to sell books or do speaking engagements or whatever I had to do, I did it to make sure that whatever I needed, it was taken care of. So there was a part of me in my relationship with God that didn't fully get exercised until I found myself in this situation. Rebuilding, restarting financially, I would say basically from ground zero, because I didn't know what was going to happen the next day. I didn't know. I had no clue. I was afraid. This is when I first got divorced. And I knew I was working, but that could have changed the very next day. It was like every day I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. So I never felt secure and I never felt comfortable. I didn't have this assurance that everything would be okay for the long haul. I was filled with a lot of question marks. And I got to this position where I said, you know way too much. And I'm saying this to you. You know way too much. You have so many things, skills, experiences. There is so much at your disposal. There's YouTube. There's mentors, friends, people at church. There's just so many ways to learn and figure things out that you should never go to bed hungry. Okay? There's programs, there's resources. I'm saying figure it out, right? If there's a will, there's a way. And I believe in you. So here's what I did that was very unique and different. Instead of me figuring out how was I going to afford my lifestyle, I started to figure out what kind of life did I want to have. And I allowed the resources to line up with the kind of life that I wanted to have. I decided I was not going to live in fear. I decided that zeros in a bank account aren't going to affect me in either direction. If I have a lot, I have a little, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant because God is the one providing for me. He's the one taking care of me. And then he's given me the ability to take care of myself. So I stopped seeing like, oh no, a bill's due. You know what I start saying? Who said you had to pay bills? Like if you look at your financial situation right now, and you got to be honest, okay? I'm your sister girl, your cousin. I'm going to say, take out that Excel sheet, write out all your debts, write out everybody you owe, get a fresh credit report, write out everybody you owe, get a list of all your expenses. I want you to go over every single drop. Do it for the last 2 months of your life. And what have you been spending on? What kind of money has come into your hands? I don't care if it's somebody that put $100 in your hand, $50, $20 Cash App. Count it all up. And then from a place of honesty with yourself, here's what I'm spending. You start to analyze what is absolutely necessary, what is important, what is meaningful. You also at the same time need to know what is important to you. Sometimes we're saying, I don't want people to think I fell off. I don't want to feel embarrassed. I want my kids to be comfortable and have the same quality of life. There's a lot of other emotional things going on with us when we've come out of a relationship or a divorce or whatever it is. Or maybe we had a great job and we had a great position and then we had to be let go. Or maybe we had a business and we were the people in our family that seemed to have a lot. And now that business we had to pivot. And so now it doesn't seem like we have enough. And we have all these emotional things, these other attachments, these ideas. They're not real. Okay. When it comes to your money, you get to decide. I looked at everything in my life. I said, what kind of life do you want to live? What's meaningful for you? And I looked at every single drop, every single dime. For the first time really in a long time, I did that, where I analyzed over a period of 3 months my entire spending, down to the wire, down to a $1.99 subscription. Okay. And I said, in order for me to have the life that I want, there are things that I would have to let go of temporarily. And the life that I wanted was one of freedom. I didn't want to spend 60, 70 hours to make a certain amount of money in order to pay bills for a certain type of house, to drive a certain type of car, to wear a certain type of clothes, to drink a certain type of glass bottled water. No, that wasn't required for me. I know what it feels like to be in a rat race. I know what it feels like to be on the treadmill constantly. I know what it feels like to work 24/7 and be on call and make sure everything goes well so that at the end of the day, we can enjoy some of the material things that we had. And I talked about this openly. I said, absolutely not. I changed my relationship with money because I started to put in first position what was the desire of my heart ultimately, was fulfillment, was purpose, was peace, was resourcefulness, in being able to stretch money. Like I put my Hoka shoes on, honey. I put my workout clothes on. I didn't, who were the Joneses? I'm a single woman. I'm 42. I have 2 adult children and 1 teenager. Like, who am I flexing for? What red carpets am I showing up to where I need to prove that I'm enough because of the stuff that I have? Absolutely not. In this situation, if you are restarting, if you are building your finances, if you're ready to make a marked shift, it's not going to start with you just making more money. It's going to start with you really understanding yourself and your relationship with money now and historically. And the only way to do that is by having evidence. Look over your whole life. When have you found yourself overspending, underspending, saving, hoarding? When are you most anxious? What do you do when you're anxious? When you go to the mall, what are you spending on? Like, all of these things you need to know. And then you got to align them with the truth of your own soul. And only you know that. That's why a lot of financial programs don't always stick, because they don't address the underlying stuff in our hearts and the stuff we want to prove to friends. And some of us are stuck 10 years ago, and we need to spend more money because we're not living the life we want to live because we're so worried about what's going to happen. Right now in the stock market, there's a lot of losses and a lot of uncertainty, and people who don't have the best relationship with money, that they thought as long as I stack it up and put it away, I'll be fine and everything would be great. And then when something happens externally and it changes those zeros in the bank account, we're depressed, we're sick, we're hurt, we don't know what to do. If you are the person that's listening to me that underperforms, you want people to take care of you. You are not the worker. You are not being a good steward of the money you do have. It's time for you to grow up. Grow up, grow up, grow up. It's time for you to get in the driver's seat of your own finances. There are videos, there's free material online every single day to teach you how, the practical steps, how to pay bills, how to do auto pay, how much to have in a bank account, all those types of details. But it's time for you to also be stretched, because you are underutilizing your talent. You're underutilizing your skills by not applying yourself, by allowing life to just somehow figure itself out. I think there is a delicate balance of work, pleasure, resource. And if you are somehow out of balance in any direction, it's going to cause stress. And if you are the person that doesn't work very hard, and when I say hard, work is thinking. You can think hard. That's still work. But if you're a person that's not generating any income and you are complaining or you are upset or you are worried or you are stressed because money is not enough, and yet you are not taking any steps to shore that gap up, you will perpetually live in this state for the rest of your life. So I'm the friend that's going to come along and say, if your bills are 2 or 3 months past due, it's time to go through the house. It's time to consider maybe we need to move in with mom. It's time to downsize. It's time to get into a studio apartment. It's just time to allow your lifestyle to match your effort. If you don't want to work, fine. If you don't want to pay bills, fine. It's no need to be in the situation and stress about it. Make some adjustments. Get a roommate. Live with someone else so you don't have that overhead weighing you down every month. I'm pro, if you know yourself and you know, look, I'm 65, I'm on a fixed income and I got Social Security and my husband or my partner is not involved, and that's a different story. You got to now change your life to match your money. In my situation, I chose to allow my money to match my lifestyle, meaning the life I really want to live, and let me make adjustments so that I can have what I want without feeling pressured and stressed and worried. Nonetheless, I think no matter where we come from, as long as we are being honest with ourselves about where we are financially and what we really need and what we really want, we're always going to be in a better position. I don't know anyone that is constantly living in abundance 100% of their entire life. Now, there are people out there. Maybe I do know some people that got trust funds and all that, but I just mean, for the most part, there's fluctuations. And if money fluctuating changes your mood, it's time to really have some strong conversations and make some adjustments to your lifestyle. I have enjoyed this new way of living, keeping budgets, being mindful. It's good for my soul. It made me hungry. It made me more appreciative and more grateful for what I do have. It made me focus and prioritize more on what matters most. Like I was just saying the other day, I just booked another trip because travel is important to me. I booked another trip and I thought, yeah, I really don't go out to eat to restaurants. I don't really buy a lot of clothes or shoes, or you'd be hard pressed to see me spending on anything because I have everything I need. I mean, as long as I have some good food in the refrigerator, something I can cook, I got some gas in my car, I'm really straight. Like, I am good. I got a good warm bath and I can get in a warm bed at night. I got a book to read. I got some content I can shoot, some people I can help, some projects I can give myself to. I'm very content. So the things that I enjoy, I get to spend money on, circulate money on, and not feel burdened or pressured or worried or anxious about it. This is life. So all in all, I think no matter where you come from, no matter your background, if you're restarting, you'll be just fine. Have the open and honest conversations. If you need some support, let me know. I can help you. I've been at the table with billionaires, okay, that trusted me, and I've managed millions of dollars for probably the last 2 decades of my life. I've been responsible with a lot of money, both in business and both personally, and I have a lot of joy in it. If I would always say if I had to pivot, I would have gone into the financial space. But I think God has something else for me. So I do it and I love it. I love taxes. I love figuring out ways to find money, to make money, to grow money. I feel very comfortable with it. And I'm just happy to have this first conversation about it. And I know it'll continue because it's so important to us as women to feel safe, and being provided for is very important for us. And I look forward to continuing to help us and move us all forward, especially as I'm learning in real time. Um, so if you haven't already, like, subscribe, let me know in the comments, what's your money story? How are you building your life? How are you managing your money right now? What's your budgets like? Not actual numbers, but I mean, if there's any strategies, any tips, anything that you can share that you want to help somebody else, please do. How did you rebuild? How did you restart financially? I know accepting is number one, and then allowing it to be what it is number two. Number three, there's some very practical things that we can do to move our financial ball forward. You will be just fine. You know what else? I'm going to say this. I've even helped people walk into repossessions. I've helped people kind of process emotionally how to lose it all and be okay with that. And it brought a profound sense of relief. Okay, how to call the bank, how to do a double due date change, how to refinance cars to get better rates, and how to call creditors, and how to, like, there's strategy that goes into changing your financial situation. Okay. Um, and I just want all of us to have a good life. I want us to feel better about money. I want us to live in a way that honors what we truly desire, and not be always overwhelmed and stressed and struggling and hurting. You can have no money and not be struggling. Did you hear what I said? You can have not a dime and not be struggling, because struggle is also a mindset. There are people who have nothing who are the happiest people in the world, because in their minds, they have everything that they want. They have no car, they have no place to live, and they just trust that every day they'll be provided for, and that is their choice, and they're happy with it. So I'm so happy that we have this conversation. I can't wait to see you soon. Like, subscribe, let me know in the comments your money story. Peace.